Start. Okay, thank you. All right, welcome everyone to our study program session today. My name is Marlene. I am the admission coordinator here at Code University of Applied Sciences. And today we actually want to dedicate a whole hour just to our study program product management. And we have Florian Grote here, who is actually the study program coordinator, who will just hold a little presentation about the study program for the first part of the session today. And then we are also joined by some of our PM students actually. And I have a couple of questions prepared for them. So we will have a little panel discussion, so to say. And then we also still have some time for a Q&A from all of our guests today. And hopefully you will all know a bit more about product management afterwards. So I would just hand it right over to Florian and take it away.
All right. Yeah, thank you very much. Thanks, Marlene. Thanks, Hannah, for organizing. And thanks for all your interest. Thanks for all the guests. Thanks for our students for being here and answering the questions. Yeah, maybe a few words about myself. I joined Code in 2018. And before that, I worked mainly for a while as a designer, actually, and then later as a product manager in the music tech industry for both hardware and software and integrated products. And then I was just interested to look into all these different segments that product management can make a difference in. And it's been a super exciting ride since then to see all these student projects and all the things that are going on at Code. So I'm sure you have a lot of questions, and also it's always a question, well, what is product management even? Because it's not something that you just do kind of while you're in school already, or that you get into like you do get into coding or design. So maybe a few words, and actually I will want to also share a little 5-minute video on kind of how we see product management from a holistic perspective at Code in general, my faculty colleagues and myself. Unfortunately, it's only me here today, but I have great colleagues who we all together consult and coach and teach product management. So let's dive right in, and I want to start with this little intro video for you.
We live in a world that is largely defined by products. Everything that is not nature or the helping hand of a friend or family member has typically been created as a product. Steve Jobs said that one of the defining moments in his life was when he realized that the world around us, most of what we see when we look out of the window, is made by humans. Humans who are, in their fundamental capabilities, not different from us. This realization opens the world to us. What others have created can be recreated differently, can be improved upon, can be completely reimagined. The realization that the world around us is largely defined by products created by humans fundamentally similar to us also opens up great responsibility. Our stewardship of the planet we inhabit is not leading us on a sustainable path. In utilizing the awesome powers we have gained with technologies we invented, we humans have often created products that create short-term benefits, that are fun to use and that have disrupted our lifestyle, but that have created the danger that our planet might not be able to support our civilization for future generations. At Code, we believe that if products are part of the problem now, they can also be part of the solution. Great technology products, such as the smartphone and social platforms, have proven their disruptive powers for society over and over again. We believe that this is the biggest lever we have to steer our pathways in the direction of better futures. None of the great products we know have been created by lone geniuses. Steve Jobs did not create the Macintosh or the iPhone, at least not alone. The entire product team did. For products to disrupt the status quo and have lasting success on the business side, they need to win on the frontiers of technology, experience, and usability. They need to provide value for the people who use them. Defining products that bring value to the users and the world they live in is the key mission of the product managers we aspire to be. To accomplish this, we assemble teams together with engineers and designers, and we search for solutions to problems and needs we encounter in the world of our potential users and the contexts they live in. We ideate and build early prototypes to find out what might bring value to them and keep them coming back. We conceptualize business models that allow us to build products which have a path to profitability. We engage with stakeholders to create and contribute to ecosystems of the future. We help set up and drive production processes for cutting-edge technology that enables unique features in our products. Product management at Code can take many forms. One student team is building a vegetable farm for offices. Another is designing an internal ideation platform for our partner company Porsche. Yet another team is building a platform to enable people everywhere to create their own everyday hygiene products from regular household materials, so they can become healthier and their negative environmental impact is reduced. While these projects are quite different in the products they aim to create and bring to life, the fundamental underlying process of product definition and finding the right strategy and business model is quite similar on an abstract level. The teams research with people out there in the real world where the needs can be found. They test, they iterate, they search for their very own definition of value. They build, measure the impact they have, and with their learnings, they iterate again. Out of this, several of our teams have created their own startup companies and launched their products commercially. We believe that the world needs better products. What should stop us from building them?
All right, so much, for the maybe the breadth of topics that you can cover with product management. And what I hope this video kind of made clear is that product management is also about having a great idea, commercializing that idea, creating your own startup and making it big. But it's also about sustainable development, ethical considerations, asking whether the thing that you could build is actually something that you should build, right? And it's product management in general is a lot about dealing with stakeholders and finding out who will be impacted by the product that you're building and who has an impact on you as you are building the product, and then integrating them into your mission and communicating with them on a regular basis. So, no, I need to go here. So you've seen this slide in the video, and it's really this search for value that for me is the hallmark of product management. So you are dealing with all these things around, well, what's possible today with technology? What is on the design side, what makes things usable? What do people expect? The experience level that people expect, what is a great experience for people? And then the business viability. And for a great product, all of these things need to come together. And you could even say the sustainability aspect also needs to come together, right? It needs to also be not have a negative effect on the environment and on society. So it's juggling a lot of these contexts that is really the role of the product manager. And that's what we try to help everyone experience at Code by doing these projects and by working with our partner companies and by looking into all these different areas. So how do we go about that? Effectively, we look at problems that we can solve as product managers. So we want to find problems that we can solve, concrete things that we can solve that real people have, while we're also achieving business goals. And we do that in a 3-step process. That's kind of how our curriculum is organized. First, it's always about the problem definition. And this is something that shouldn't be underestimated. You need to really know and learn about what the issues are out there that you can solve, that you can address. Then we look into building the right things, not building something that maybe we want to build because it's shiny new technology, but actually something that addresses the topic at hand that we've selected, the problem that we want to solve. And then we combine that with Agile, so building the things right. So it's this 3-step of exploring and having a problem definition, then the lean approach of just building the things that make sense in the context of the problem, and then building these things in an agile way to make sure that we are building the right things, that we are building in an iterative process. We're starting with small prototypes that we can test with users, then we iterate on them, and we try to make them better, and we try to learn from our users as we go along. If you want to put this onto a matrix, and in product management, everyone loves these matrices, so you're going to see them a lot. Then you start with a problem, you look for a solution, and then you find a market for that. Of course, you're looking at all of them at the same time, but as you're building, you're going through these different stages. And you start with no business model, then you go to having an unvalidated business model, so some sort of idea what your business model could be, but it's not validated yet. And then you get to a validated business model, which means you have some sort of revenue. And we start by finding a problem that is relevant and important also to the users, right? So it's not a problem that they might have, but something that they actually are looking for a solution for. And then it's always these circles. It's always iterative, right? So you always go in these circles of finding out something, building something, learning, and then redefining something. So you start with empathizing with the user and what kind of issues they have. You define a potential solution, you ideate, you build prototypes, and you test these prototypes with the users. So that's kind of the explore stage. Then you go to the lean stage. You find a solution that is the simplest possible solution that still matches your objectives in terms of the business, experience, sustainability goals that you have. So then you start an experiment, like you have a prototype and you put that into a potential business model. How could that work? You test that product and business model to see if you have some sort of like a product market fit already. You test and you learn and you experiment again. So you're kind of really running these experiments with potential products. And to ship the solution, we deliver valuable increments and aim for high team alignment. So you're, of course, not doing this alone ever. Also the ideation part, you're always with somebody else, with a team. And you work on aligning that team to achieve its mission. So you create a plan, what you want to build, when you want to release. You have sprints, 1-week sprints, 2-week sprints, and you align the team on what the goals are for these sprints. You ship something at the end of each sprint. You review what you've done, and you have a retrospective on how it worked. So that's the agile step in it. And then there is also the kind of growth perspective, growth hacking. addition to it, that is to scale your solution, you need to understand your numbers and let growth experiments guide the way. So it's not just about like having achieved a product market fit, but it's also about the question, well, where do we go from there? What's the next step? And so you experiment with maybe having a different set of target customers, a different segment, running a growth channel experiment, learning from that, and then seeing, yeah, could I speak to other customers as well? It doesn't just have to be those that I addressed here originally, but maybe it's also valuable for other people. And yeah, at Code, this is how it looks currently in Corona times. But we try to make it possible for people to work on campus. So you always work in project teams together with software engineers and designers. And right now we have a mixture of these kind of open areas where you can work, and then have dedicated team rooms that where usually something between 3 and 4 teams kind of split a room, share a room, and find a weekly schedule how to work that out. So that's how that looks when you sit in a room here, and you have the kind of the walls here that where you can put all your yeah, you can use them as whiteboards, essentially draw on them, put all your data there, everything. This is how it looks right now. This is a converted kind of learning unit teaching room that we're using in Corona times now also for team projects. And but that's just the campus part. That pretty much every team that works at Code right now has something that looks something like this. This is a Miro board, which is kind of an online whiteboard where all the different people on a team, so the engineers, the designers, and the product managers, put all their information in, so that it's kind of like a huge whiteboard, right? Where you put all your information on the wall, and this is a digital representation of that. And it includes even like how the code works from a high-level perspective. It includes the plan, it includes the personas who are our target customers, and it includes design drafts and everything. So that basically when you're as a team, you're always kind of working on this big canvas. You put all the information there. Of course, the code sits elsewhere, and the actual designs and how that all is put together sits elsewhere. But this is your work board, and this is the most important part of the work area for the product manager with the team, right? So, and you saw these photos also in the video. They're actually from a learning unit. So this is what teaching at Code can look like, where we typically have these smaller groups that work together. Oftentimes, it's actually members of the same team that also come to a learning unit together. And then we typically always work in small groups. So we will not find this typical situation where there's one person standing in front of everyone and just talking to the whole group, but it's typically very interactive and very much working with these small groups. Yeah, that is so much for the for this presentation. What I want to quickly share, show you as well is something that you find with more information also on, or you will find soon on the website, but this is the PM curriculum. And how we slice that is that there are things that you have to tackle with your team. That is, what is your team's purpose? What is the problem that you're tackling? What is the market that you're selecting? What is the business viability? How capable are you as a team to build the technology, and how ready are you to also adapt if you find out that you're wrong, and how can you find out that you're wrong? And then we slice all these things into different focus areas that or different job roles basically that you have as a PM. And then down here we have the modules. So the whole PM curriculum consists of modules. The yellow ones here are the mandatory ones, the blue ones are the elective modules. Then we have the faculty as module coordinators, and then we have knowledge areas beneath that. And that's really the things that you work on in a project. So if we just look at one PM01, presentation and communication, these are things that you do as a PM in a team. You do team communication, you set that up. What are our actual communication channels? How do we communicate every day? Do we just have a WhatsApp group? Do we have Slack as like some sort of instant messages? Do we do stand-ups every morning? then what are the presentation skills that we have to have? Are we presenting in front of stakeholders? Are we training that with our team? Are we pitching for investors? Are we using storytelling? Which is a big part of that module. Are we using storytelling in the things that we are presenting in our presentations? And then I already spoke about stakeholder management. How do we actually select which stakeholders are important for us? And then negotiation. So oftentimes you have to negotiate with your stakeholders and how they support you. And how do you do that? What are your strategies for negotiation? So those would be knowledge areas in this module. And what we would do is then look at, well, what are you doing in your team this semester? Which of these boxes are you kind of ticking in terms of, yes, I'm doing that as a PM on a project, and where are you generating material that you can be assessed on? That's maybe a little glimpse into how studying PM at Code actually works. And but then I'm sure our students can talk about that in much more detail. So thank you very much. And I'll hand it over to our students, and then I'll be open for all your questions a little later.
Cool. Thank you so much, Florian. And I also have to say that I learn something new every time I'm at one of these events. Very cool. Yeah, all right. Let's get our students in. And I would like to just start off that you maybe just introduce yourself, who you are, where you come from, and why you actually decided to study PM at Code. And so we don't have these awkward silences. I'm just going to call out Aya to go first.
Sure, thank you. So my name is Aya, and I come from Syria. And I'm a third-party student. That means that I've been at Code for 2 years now. And yeah, I'm studying product management. And the reason why I wanted to study product management is because for so many years, I've actually worked alongside startups and was always fascinated by those people who just create something out of nothing. And I kind of got sick of working next to them, and I wanted to work like within them. So I thought that by studying product management, it's kind of the gateway for me to learn how to start a new product and a new business and become one of those startups. So that's kind of why I chose to study product management. And I'm gonna choose Léon to go after me.
Thanks, Saya. Yeah, so I'm Léon. I'm also third party, so also studying. I studied with Aya together at Code. Yeah, why did I choose product management? I think definitely because it's a very general role. So you learn a lot of soft skills and techniques, but you can apply it to a very broad, just broad range of projects, ideas, areas you want to work in. You can be interested in health tech or in game industry or in whatever you can think of. And wherever you want to, wherever you are curious in, you can explore that through product management and apply different skills. And that's what I like. And I love to have projects with other teams and working with other teams. So yeah, that's why I chose this. Who's next? Katharina?
Hi, I'm Katharina. I'm a next-gen student, so I've been at Code for 3 years now, yeah. And I'm about to graduate as well, which is exciting. And yeah, so I'm from Germany originally, but I spent 10 years in Australia, and that's where I kind of went to school as well. And I spent some time working in marketing. And I decided to study product management because I was kind of sick of, like Aya in a way, like I was sick of just marketing products. I wanted to create them. And yeah, I was just always more interested in like, okay, how can I actually create an impact? How can I make some sort of difference with the products that I create? And that's what kind of drove me towards product management. And I also, like Léon, love the team side of it. So working with a team and creating something together, I think that's just really exciting. And that's a great part of Code, is that you get to work with really nice teams and just work on stuff that you're interested in. So yeah, who else is going to join? I think, is that everyone? Marlene?
Yeah, I think it's just the
Okay,
three
just
of
us
you
three.
from the
Okay.
student side. Cool, very cool. And yeah, I'm also very curious just to hear what kind of projects you are working on right now, and yeah, what exactly your role is, and yeah, how you enjoy that. And I'll mix it up and let Leon go first.
All right. So yeah, my project is a little different. This semester I'm leading quite a big team. We are 11 people right now working on a hardware project, and we are building a rocket actually. So it's a rocket project where we build a rocket from scratch. So we're not solving any specific problem with this project right now, but it's a huge challenge that we set ourselves. And what I'm doing is mostly the team management. So a lot of interpersonal skill things that I can apply there. And kind of setting the infrastructure for the team. And also kind of co-creating the direction you want to go in with this project. So at the beginning, you set kind of a vision and a mission for the project, and you kind of develop and see what opportunities do I have with this project, and where can we take it? So yeah, that's what I'm doing right now. You want to go next?
Sure. So it's quite a contrast from what Leon is doing, working with a very, very small team of myself and a friend who's a developer. And we're trying to build an app that helps people who move to Berlin meet others while exploring Berlin as well. So it's kind of more of like, it's not really a social network, but it's more of like a community app. And what I mostly focused on, since it's such a small team, is almost everything. So we're kind of learning as we're going, which is great fun. So there's a lot of research that's going, be it our target customer or the other apps that exist in the market that do something similar, as well as understanding the psychology of a person who just moved to Berlin. And as well, I'm learning some design skills since we don't have a designer. And trying to also learn some communication skills, trying to communicate with a person who talks in code, just trying to learn new ways of trying to communicate both digitally and in person. Katharina, what are you working on?
Yeah, so this semester I worked on a project called Chickpea. It was quite different this semester because I worked mostly on my own, actually. And like in previous semesters, I worked mostly in bigger teams of like 5 people or so. But yeah, this project is about helping people who have like digestive issues and food intolerances, and we're connecting them with the right experts and like people who will take them seriously and understand them. And so it's like a very sensitive topic, and it's in the health space. So my job this semester was a lot about talking to the users, talking to people, understanding really their problems and their needs, and then looking at, okay, what's the right product that could help. And so what I did this semester, I created a pilot event because we wanted to test the concept of connecting people with experts via events. And then in that way, creating like a sense of community as well. And so, I set up the first event. So a lot of my jobs were to work with the people who are running the event with me. So experts, like kind of managing that partnership with them. Then obviously marketing the event, setting everything up. So it's basically everything. And then, going forward, it's going to be more about developing it, refining the concept, thinking about, okay, is this really what people want? And then growing it further. So that's what I've been working on.
Nice, really, really cool projects, and all are so different, and also your roles can look so different. So that's really interesting to see. And when you think about the projects you have done so far at Code, what has been maybe your favorite project, and what's your favorite part about studying PM in general? And this time I'll let Katharina go first.
Okay. Oh, this is such a tricky question because, to be honest, every project I worked on was my favorite. I worked on quite a few different ones. So I worked at I was part of this program called Digital Product School in Munich, which is like a partner of Code. This was, I think, in 2019, and I worked on a project with a team of 5 for BMW. And that was great because the team was amazing and we just kind of learned together, grew together, failed together. And I have to say, I think my favorite part about, work or studying a code or being a product manager is like just being with a team. That's really cool. And you have fun together and you kind of get to know each other and learn together. And then I worked on other projects as well where, there was different teams. So I don't know, I don't have a favorite project. It's really hard to say, but I have to say, it always comes down to the team and their engagement towards the project. And if everyone's really into it and excited about it, that's when the project is usually great. So, yeah.
Cool. And maybe
Okay, so I'll go. So my favorite project is the project that I'm working on right now, but I want to share my favorite project at Code recently, which is called War and Stories, which kind of gives a second life to clothes. And I find it to be a very great purpose from sustainability reasons, and as well, it's such a great story for me, and I would definitely use it. And I think the people working on it are very passionate about it. So that's kind of what makes a project my favorite project when I see it around Code, which there's plenty of, a lot of passion goes into these projects. And my favorite part about studying product management is actually how far it takes you. I always thought that product management is like this one thing that has to do a lot with planning, maybe, and exploring the idea. But recently, I've been realizing that product management goes into a lot of things, like Florian's video showed. It's all around us, kind of. So that's kind of my favorite part about product management. What about you, Léon?
For favorite projects in general, I think I'm curious and also like projects a little bit more interesting and different projects. That's also why I want to explore hardware projects. I think I just like projects that you don't see that often. And what I think I like most about product management is that you get as I'm still learning also about it, that you get a behind the scenes kind of how the world of products work. We also have awesome lecturers that work in that are currently working in some companies, and then they can give us like glimpses behind how apps work, how different decisions are made, or why decisions are made, and just getting that understanding why the technical world, the tech world works, how it works, and how users interact with it. Then you can kind of open new apps that you always use, but you have like so much more understanding on why things are like that. And that's so fascinating. And yeah, I just love to learn about it currently. Yeah, that's my favorite thing.
Very cool. And maybe as a last question from my side before we actually go into the Q&A. So for all of our guests, if you have any questions, since we're such a small group, we can then later on just, unmute and speak. But if you don't want to do that, you can also put your question in the chat. That's no problem. But last question from my side would be, what would be your tip or advice for everyone who is applying to Code right now and who is interested in the PM program? And first goes Léon.
My tip, I would say, just don't think about it too much. You will learn everything product management related at Code, so you don't have to stress about any like knowledge or Googling too much facts about product management. It's also hard to Google that. So just focus on whatever the challenge is and go for it.
I'll go next. My tip is very silly and cheesy, but just do it. I think, yeah, it's if you haven't applied yet, like really just do it. Once it's over, you'll have like a more relaxed time, and once you get accepted, hopefully it'll feel really great. And once you are at Code, my advice would be to always be curious, and whatever you come across, like you face it with an open mind, because it will be useful in the future, even if it's not useful for you right now, if this makes sense. Katharina?
Okay, yeah. So when it comes to applying to code, I would definitely, show your passion and your curiosity, like Aya said as well, that you're interested in digital products, that you're interested in, solving problems, working with other people, things like that. And just be yourself, obviously, as well. Don't make it sound too fancy. And then when you go to code, don't be afraid to work on the things that you are feeling called to do or that you want to do, and don't do the things like, don't work on projects where you think you should be doing them because it looks good on a resume or something, or it like you should be doing them because it's the next tech piece of tech that you should like go after, if that makes sense. Just kind of work on the things that you're really interested about, because then naturally you're going to learn the most, I think, because you're going to be the most invested in them, and spend the most time on it as well. So yeah, that would be my tips.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much for sharing your experiences and your tips, and talking about your projects. Always super interesting to hear that. And I think, we'll just end the official part now. And so Joanna, you can press end on the recording, and then we can jump into our